The kick, catching the arm, Ikkyo. Apply pressure, downward towards the ground. It's really important that I'm downward. I'm not applying pressure up. I'm pushing down. The sequence goes my bone, his bone, ground, in a direct line, straight down. Then take him down with a pivot, 2 steps back. This is the most challenging technique in this series of 8 for the student to get. So here, try not to get too frustrated when working on this. You'll get it. Now let's look at the 5th technique in this series. Gokyo, 5th lesson. Gokyo. The technique we use to demonstrate this lesson is Omote, Musha, Dori. Omote, Musha, Dori, which means obvious warrior catch. The lesson here is to strike with every technique. The opponent attempts to grab a cross-wrist grab. Before he gets hold of this grab, you're going to deflect it, like so. I'm deflecting it and stepping at the same time, moving in this way. Trying to move 45 degrees to the front. Deflecting. As I pivot back with my tenshin footwork, I'm striking my opponent with that kitenken shuto type strike into his neck. From there, I'm going to tenshin again, moving around. I'm going to strike down into the bend of his elbow, bringing his elbow around to his belt knot and applying a forward pressure. Uke falls down, step backwards twice, like so. So we'll do it all in one motion here so you can see it. Same side wrist grab. As he grabs, I'm going to grab him again, like so. I'm still going to step in, tenshin, strike, pushing down into that crooks of his arm. He grabs, strike, down, and back. Lapel grab. I'm not going to let him have it. Just by raising my arms up, chopping into his neck, pivoting around, pressing downward pressure into his elbow this way. The lapel grabs again. I'm not going to let him have it. Chopping, pressing downward pressure. From a striking attack, I'm going to still defend the same way I was defending before. But here I'm going to pivot with that tenshin footwork around this way. My opponent keeps attacking, right? Right here, you're going to move through the opponent, applying downward pressure inside the elbow, causing him to bend further than he can stand that way. Up, turn, and throw. Deflect, machine. Let's do a different angle. Deflecting, blocking, tenshin, pivoting, and throwing. The next technique in this Aiki series is Rokkyo, the 6th lesson. Rokkyo. The technique we use to demonstrate this lesson is Ura Musha Dori. Ura Musha Dori. The less than obvious warrior catch. Here the lesson is one of leading, guiding, directing the opponent. From this cross wrist grab, I want to make sure I have the right hand placement. My palm is going to go on the inside of his wrist. Grabbing on. So I'm grabbing onto him. From here, I'm going to move my wrist as if revving up a motorcycle. Rotating his arm. My other hand comes in with that shuto strike to the inside of the bend of his elbow. Moving his elbow in front of his belt knot and then guiding him down in a spiraling motion. All of our techniques have a spiraling motion downward. So I'm stepping in, entering, and pivoting. That spiraling motion. Notice I'm not going up as I'm turning. I'm getting lower as I turn. He grabs, rotate, enter, spiraling motion as I pivot. Backing away twice, and salute. From the same side wrist grab, I'm just going to reach across with the other hand, placing my palm on the inside of his wrist, rotating it out like that motorcycle revving, stepping in with that shuto strike to his arm, chopping into his arm, and then rotating my pivot this way, throwing him down. He grabs same side, the other side, so you can see it, different angle, reaching across, revving it, chopping, coming in, pivoting, taking him down. 2 steps back, salute. Lapel grab. As he does a lapel grab, same thing. I'm going to reach up and grab the inside of his arm. Chopping down, rotating as I'm stepping in, and pivoting. Lapel grab. Chop, rotate, pivot. 2 steps back, salute. From a striking technique, uke punches. Deflecting, pushing down. As I'm pushing down, my hand sneaks over to the other side of his wrist, getting that hand placement again, palm to the inside of his wrist. Deflect, push down, rotate. Kick, deflecting the kick, push down, enter in, rotate. From a kicking technique, down, step in, rotate. Down, step in, rotate. The next technique in this Aiki Kihon series is Nanakyo, the 7th lesson. The technique we use to demonstrate this lesson is Shiho Nage, Shiho Nage, which means 4-directional throw. The lesson that we're supposed to gather or gain from doing this technique is one of being skin tight. So I want my body to be as close as possible to my opponent's body. As I demonstrate the technique, I'll show you the incorrect way to do it as well. From here, just as in the 6th lesson, Rokkyo, our 7th lesson of Nanakyo, we grab the same hand placement on the inside of the wrist, my palm to his inside of his wrist. I'm going to twist that wrist just as I did the last technique. But here I'm going to enter in and I'm going to extend my hand across his body, applying a lock to his elbow. This way. He rises up. From here I turn facing the other way. Notice there's a big space, let's get a little bit, between his body and mine. This is the incorrect way to do it. I'm not skin tight. Skin tight, I want to be as close as possible to him when I do that. If I'm like this, it's easy for him to pull his arm down or rotate around me this way where I can't do anything and he's able to escape. So as he comes in with this grab, I'm locking his elbow out. He's tapping, signifying it's hurting. My body is all the way against his body as I'm rotating this way. So let's turn so they can see. Maybe turn this way so they can see that entry. So right here. So when I'm entering, my body, see how my body's against his? And then I'm rotating to here. My body stays against him the whole time. From here, I extend my arm, and my opponent falls. So in one motion, it looks like this. Enter in. 2 steps back. Salute. From a same side wrist grab, same thing. Entering in, rotating around, and throwing. Just reaching across to grab that wrist. From a lapel grab, grabbing it this way. Swinging through, locking this out. Rotating my body, extending through for my throw. From a punch. Defending, rotating through, and throwing. 2 steps back and salute. From a kick, deflecting the kick. Entering in. The eighth and final lesson in this Aiki Kihon series, Hatchikyo, the eighth lesson, uses a technique known as Irimi Nage, entering throw, to demonstrate the lesson of becoming center. You want to become center. Essentially, I want to not resist what's happening, no resistance, causing the opponent to orbit around me. So I'm going to be able to use the centrifugal forces that are pulling the opponent away from me. They're, in a sense, fighting gravity as opposed to fighting me. From a cross wrist grab, I'm not going to let him grab my wrist. I'm slipping around his hand, putting pressure onto his elbow. From here, I'm entering in behind him, grabbing his neck. Now, this location where I'm at, behind this shoulder, is known as Shikaku, blind angle, dead angle. It's a blind spot of a car. Okay, think of it that way. So I'm at this dead angle here. One hand is on his elbow, one hand is on the inside of his neck where I could feel his pulse. I'm going to pull his neck towards my opposite shoulder and pull down on his elbow, creating this leaning action here. From here, I'm going to perform my tenshin footwork, swinging my foot around. This causes my opponent's orbit around me. Raising my arm up underneath his neck, as if to get behind him to choke him. Raising my arm up, tilting his neck up, and then straightening my arms out over here, throwing him to the ground. It's really important that the palms are turned out on this technique. Palms out, making a circle this way. He goes to grab my wrist. I'm entering in, Shikaku, into Basho to Irimi Nage. Same side wrist grab. Same side wrist grab. Same thing. I'm not going to let him have this. I'm going to enter in behind him here. Shikaku, Shoho Basho, Tenshin, Irimi Nage. From a lapel grab, I'm not going to let him have it. Entering in, sweeping around, throwing my opponent. From a punch, don't let him hit you. Move in, sweep around, throw. He kicks, entering in, and throw. 2 steps back, salute. This Aiki Kihon series, this Aiki Kihon Happo series of 8 techniques that we just demonstrated to you, have 2 sides to it, 2 aspects. One, they teach us a lesson. These lessons should be done in every technique. They are part of every technique. On every technique, I enter. I have to control that distancing. I have to be in there. You have to be in it to win it. With every technique, no matter what the technique is, you have to set it up. You have to be in control of it. With every technique, you can't go against the resistance. We have to go around the problem. With every technique, we have to cause pain and be indifferent to the outcome. With every technique, we have to strike. Striking is the means to grappling. With every technique, we have to lead and guide the opponent to the ground. With every technique, we have to be skin tight. We have to be right up against them. So the harder they struggle, the worse position they get into. Setting a trap. With every technique, we have to become the center. Only in the center can we transform the situation. Can I move from defender to attacker? The other aspect that all these techniques have is the idea or the lesson that I can apply each of these techniques to any situation. Whether they're grabbing me, punching me, tackling me, leaping onto you, whatever it is, you can apply each one of these techniques to any attack, armed or unarmed. There's stabbing with a knife, slashing with a knife. It's the same as punching, whether it's a hook punch or a straight punch. Stab, slash. It's the same thing. A sword, a stick, whatever it is. Now let's look at bowing out. At the end of the class, you're going to salute just like we did before, except the big difference here is going to be the phrase. You're going to say domo arigato. Thank you very much. Looks like this. Left leg, then right leg, sit. Hands together. Shikin haramitsu daikomyo. Clap twice. Bow. Clap once. Bow. The instructor will rotate. The senior student in the class will give the command. Sensei nide. Bow to the teacher. We all bow. Left hand, then right hand. Domo arigato. Right hand, then left hand.